of the day, that is the international conference which we are here along with the delegates, students, faculty members, and all the people, those who are with us today online, those who are celebrating young age. We all communicate, but sometimes just for few, hours or days in a positive way. But normally, then with the communication, the things goes wrong and we become sad. So it's not the matter whether we are communicating, we are keeping healthy, or we are happy. The matter is how to sustain these things throughout our life, from birth till the last day. Even the death should be taken in a happiest way. Someone in English had said that let death be my friend. There is no question, as Professor B.S. Chauhan was saying, people are afraid, scared, frightened of so many things, and often we call it psychologically phobias. Let's not have any phobia, and that is the crux of this international 2-day conference. I have gone through the report which was being presented by my dear colleague Dr. Sangeeta, and she elaborately presented how we have presenters from different streams. We have presenters from humanities, from science, from commerce. We have scientists with us, doctors, yoga trainers. We have people who were dealing with money matters, expertise they have there. We also have people, those who were psychologists. Now everyone has their own perspectives. And human mind, what is human mind? It's being told in the memory technique session. It's no lesser than a computer. We are actually the parents of artificial intelligence, because our mind is no less than any other agency. We have all kinds of stream of consciousness into our minds. We learn, relearn, de-learn. We try to memorize. We remember few things. We forget few things. We are the planners. We strategize things. We execute the things, and everything happens with the mind. And when we say ancient wisdom, the Asian wisdom, then sometimes we are confused between mind, soul, and so many other things. But again, reliving, re-entering into your mind with the perspective of your soul, I think that is going you the bliss of happiness. I still remember there was a story, when a child was being asked, there was a class and the teacher said, okay, write an essay. What do you want in your life? What is your aim of the life? And everyone wrote, like someone want to become a doctor, engineer, or professor, or a lawyer, or a scientist. But one of the child just wrote, he wanted to be happy. And he was being scolded by the teacher. He said, I'm asking you, what's your aim? What's your target? What do you want to become? What do you mean by happy? If you will become a pilot, you will be happy. If you will become a driver, you will be happy. What do you mean by being a happy? Write something. And again the essay was given to the child. Again the child wrote, I wanted to become happy in my life. Again the child was scolded. Next again, the homework was given, the parents were being called, and the same thing. The child again wrote, I wanted to be happy. And when the child was actually examined by the teacher in front of the parents, he said, you told us to become a teacher, a lawyer, or an officer, but then what will happen? I will have more of money, and with money what will I get? I will get comforts, and with comforts what will I get? Happiness. So I just thought about the last thing. Okay, let me be happy in my life. So that should be the goal, human goal. Whether you are materially earning or spiritually adding to your knowledge. Even the yoga guru which we had in our sessions in the morning, when he was talking from Vietnam, what he said? He said, don't worry, people over here in India, there are too many yoga instructors. They don't have that much of love and regard for you maybe here. But you have ample love and regards when yoga instructors start earning money. Again, the materialism had come into the scene. The more the money, the merrier you are. I think this merriness actually leads to the happiness. So we have here more than 180 papers which I was actually noticing into our abstract book, where we actually took issues from the health. People also talked about the wealth, happiness, and with this I remember a book by David Boyle. If you want, you can read the book, and even the title of the book is the same, Health, Wealth and Happiness. A very good book. You can have it online. It's available on Amazon also. We have the very interesting thing in our paper presenters thing, that was the integrating traditions. Why such international conferences are a must? Why do we need people from all corners of the world? Because we wanted to know what kind of traditions keep them alive, what kind of traditions keep them happy, what kind of traditions give them the good wealth. So if we wanted to know all about this, I think we need to have in the Indian, don't think, because whenever in India we say ancient wisdom, people start talking about Vedas, Upanishads, and no, that is not the true fact. The true fact is the raw life, the rural life, the tribal culture, the forest life. Don't you think those people were happy? They were not having all these comforts which we are having today. But do you think they were unhappy? Do you find child, who is playing with the mother who is working as a laborer? Is that child is not happy? Is that child is not healthy? Is that child is going to keep that sustainability or not? Again, the matter varies. The traditions varies. In what kind of traditions you are, in what kind of times you are, you have to look for the ways of happiness. So that is actually the main motto of the conference. Let's actually get happiness, not sadness. Sometimes when this conference was being planned, few of us were really under stress. We might be going into that sad element. Okay, now we have to work for the conference. Oh, too much of work. How we are going to do it? Oh God, it's very hectic, very difficult. What should we do? I have seen half the faces had shown me that sadness. Then normally I would tell them, don't worry, everything would be done. Take it easy, everything would be done. We are going to do the best, And this, I didn't do anything. Everything was done by the coordinators, members and the committees. I just gave them the mantra. We can do and we will do the best. And with a smiling face, we faced the challenges. We remained here in the college for 12 hours. None of us were actually ill due to that. None of us had that headache. Why? because at the back of our mind, we have that sustainability. Sustainability of what? Being content if we are doing something. We were doing something, by the end of the day, you would come to me and tell me, okay, this is being done. I was content, you were content, and both of us, we were satisfied, and that satisfaction had given us what? The bliss of happiness. You know, that little happiness, which we have. I asked my students to do this and that, they did that. In the beginning, they said, oh God, again a function, we are going to work hard. And then they came to me, ma'am, we did this. Again, that bliss of happiness was seen with the measurement of the contentment. How the more work actually you have done into that particular perspective, the better happiness element you have gained. So my thing was only to balance the intellectual quotient and the emotional quotient, which actually we were all fighting every moment, every day, and every second. Every second we fight with this intellectual quotient and emotional quotient. If we balance it, I think we have best of the health and the happiness. Among these 2 days of our presentations, we had our papers, our erudite scholars, researchers who talked about the ancient wisdom, yoga and Ayurveda. People talked about Swami Vivekananda, Jayapal Prajapat, even Ramdev was being discussed. People also talked about Swami Shivananda. People who belong to the agricultural background, they talk about the agricultural revolution, especially the millets, which is the need of the hour these days, and the vitality seed, which scientists also talked about here. We also talked about a phenomenon, eudaimonia, that means to have a good life, to lead a good life. As we all know, Professor Brajesh Chauhan, he talks about nanotechnology, and that expression had also entered into the conference with the cultural expressions, because if we have science and culture together, I think we could go with prosperity, prudence, and financial freedom, as well as if we have all these things, we can have that dance of happiness, psychological dance of happiness rather, I would say. People also talked about how traveling also is an element of giving happiness. I really feel sorry for all those who are online. If they had traveled, they might have felt the bliss of Ani and had been more happier for in our conference. But I think they can feel it online. We are sending all those vibes to them so that they can feel the ethos and milieu of the place. We also talked about the music, gardening, farming, looking after our pets and animals. I think everything gives you some touch of satisfaction, contentment, and it results into the happiness. Tribal culture and values have a lot of role to play, because that is the natural way of living. I think all our story writers, even Ruskin Bond, if you take, the stories are very famous among the students, and they are full of tribal life, because tribals are the people who really enjoy their life, and we have seen it in the movies also, those who have not read much of the literature. People were also worried about in our conference, in such kind of conferences, about the greener tomorrow. What is the greener pastures for tomorrow? What should we do for the sustainability? I think planting more trees, taking care of your water resources, taking care of the environmental conditions, and using technology very judiciously, very wisely. You shouldn't be slave to the technology, as sir was also confessing that we can't leave phones these days. That means let's not be slave to our phones. Let phone be my servant. Let I be not the servant of my phone. We also discussed about the models, educational models. They are very important. Few papers also talked about that, and I think if we go to Mark Zuckerberg or we go to Abdul Kalam, who was a scientist, both the people were successful. Now Mark Zuckerberg, I think all youngsters knows him, the Facebook owner. Not very qualified, but he's a successful, happiest man in the world. Abdul Kalam, a man who had come from the struggles, was a successful man, after being called as a missile scientist and then missile man, sorry, and also a scientist, and then he became the president of India. We all know this. He was also successful and he was also very happy. Now, from these two examples, what I wanted to stress, it's not the matter which is actually responsible for our health or happiness. It's the way of thoughts, way of life, and the measurement of success. How far you are successful. I think just now Professor Brajesh has told you about the story of Namita. A young rural girl touching the floor of the parliament. Now that is the level of success. The more success you get, the more content you are, and the more happy you are. If you are happier, you have good health, no doubt. You can communicate, that happiness with the things. We also talked about the global wisdom, sociological perspectives. Some sociological perspective is a very big thing. When we say sociological perspective, I think all the friends who are from economics department, they often talked about the marginalization and all, because sometimes women, and if they are also belonging to the poor families or to some marginalized classes, I think that those people, they are doubly marginalized. In that way, those people, they have to come up with lot of struggle to raise the platform. And when we say equity kind of thing, those people, they have to first deal with the social conventions or the mindsets. Then they have to look for their ways how to get success, like education and all. And then they think within the sociological concerns, keeping rooted yourself into the culture, how you are going to touch new heights. This is what we are teaching here. Our students at Government College, they are also doing the same thing. They are rooted into their culture, but they are also well versed with technology and the Western knowledge and the modern techniques, as well as the best of the wisdom. Other perspective which was seen in the conference was from the journalism side, where we said that if there is a healthy journalism, I think you get wings to rise high. Like people, Rajdeep Sardesai or Rajat Sharma is there. I think such people, those who are into the journalism, they also add to your mindset, because often